Just the record and go.
Stacy.
Chelsea.
I'm just trying to find the ye to my haw, and I keep finding the hell to my nah.
I want you to find the ye to your haw too.
Play that track.
Exactly. After marriage. Why? You're so fabulous. That's funny.
Stacy.
Chelsea.
How you doing?
You know what? Oh, I'm doing it. Well, that's all I can say about that. But shout out to LL Cool J. Also, first of all, hi, this is Reasons Why I'm Single. But also, watching Jeopardy last night, I think it was last night. It was either last night or 2 nights ago. But they showed a picture of LL Cool J, and the answer was this, artist did a collaboration with J-Lo in whatever year for the song, I think it was Control Myself. I'm like, that's the answer you give for LL Cool J? Come on. You're better than this, Jeopardy.
You're better than this.
Right? Like, you didn't even try.
I was all worried we were gonna get started late, but thankfully nobody on Facebook has to miss us. We didn't have as many techie diffies as I thought.
Any what?
Techie diffies?
I am so upset with you.
I love how she's upset when I do it, you guys, but then she's like, perf, work. Okay, work is a word, but
work is a word.
But like, she's like, perf, guys, perf. It's great. Totes one.
Do you know why I say that though? Do you know why I do get mad? Because I know if you're going to do it, I am going to adapt and do it too. Such as me telling my coworkers or messaging them, huh, right? They're like, or correct. I'm like, no, but I say her right because that's awful and it's Chelsea's fault.
My favorite is I just imagine you at your tech startup company where everyone is very smart and being like, hey, can I ask for some help? I'm having a techie diffie.
That's exactly what happens, Chels. Like when I first started there and the developers, like, first of all, I've always thought this where I've worked, everyone's a legit genius at what they do. Brilliant. And speaking of the developers, they are straight up building apps and websites, all of it from scratch. Like none of it is like done by a third party. Everything's done in-house. And I start and I can't get my phone to sync to my laptop. So I'm like, hey guys, can you help me? My phone is not syncing to my laptop, but it should be pretty easy because they're both Apple products. So I'm just wondering if you could take a break from building this amazing thing that no one's ever seen before, what you're building from scratch, and it takes a ton of hours to even build it, to help me get these two same brand items connected. I'd really appreciate that. And then I'll place your lunch order. Thanks, bye. Like the worst.
No more techie diffies.
Oh God, that's exactly why I'm mad, because it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, dang it. And everyone's gonna be like, who hired her? And I'll be like, first of all, it's because I have Google on my resume.
First of all, I won't get this email unless you help me with my techie diffie. So
now let me ask you this. How do you spell techie diffie?
TECHIEDIFFIE. Techie diffies, IES.
Interesting. I didn't know if you were going to do an I, a Y, or an IE. So when you said IE, I'm like, oh, maybe because it's Chelsea with an IE.
I think the singular would have a Y, and then because you add an S, it makes it IES.
For diffies?
Yeah, for diffies.
Do you love that we're breaking down abbreviated?
Techie is spelt that way through theater.
TECHIE.
Yeah.
Interesting. Didn't know.
Yeah.
Also, I missed the theater.
The theater.
The theater.
The drama.
The drama. Another one. DJ Khaled.
That one's great though. That one's great.
Listen, that one is solid. Like that's probably the first, I won't say the first one, but definitely top 3 of things you said, and I'm like, okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think educate yourself is probably
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm just saying educate yourself.
Oh my gosh. But hey, Beeb, how are you?
I'm good. I have so much to tell you guys. I had a story to tell you last week, but
happened?
I threw my back out. I threw my back out, and not even in I feel like an even less cool way than I normally do. Not that throwing your back out is cool, but like or slick. Like I was driving and I hit a pothole, and my car has no suspension, and my back went boy. Yeah. So I got in a church parking lot and cried for like 45 minutes because I drive a stick shift, so I need both feet moving. And yeah. And by the time I got home, I was so tired from like the spasms and stuff that I literally just texted Dave and Stacey, and I was like, yeah, we're not podcasting tonight.
Because number 1, health and safety comes first. Number 2,
been a part of last year.
Listen. Number 2, super shouts as always to Podcast Detroit. Honestly, the best company ever to have this podcasting platform. So the fact that they're so understanding and flexible, y'all are the real ones. Third of all, so yes, Chelsea sends that text like, hey, threw my back out, can't podcast. Love to say that I'm fine, but I'm not. Like, paraphrasing. So then, I text her after, I'm like, are you okay? She's like, oh yeah, I've got my dad. I was like, oh, okay. But now that she's fully explained it, I'm like, oh, even if she needed a ride, I can't drive a stick shift. Legit, all I have are thoughts and prayers. And comedic entertainment.
Legitimately, my my chiropractor was like, you should probably think about getting another car. And I was like, okay, are you gonna buy it? Like,
thank you. Whenever I look at fabulous apartments and condos and whatnot, I'm just like, I want these ones, but I want it for really bad neighborhoods pricing, please and thank you.
Thank you.
Right? What was it? The movie Bridesmaids, where she's like, "Help me, I'm poor."
But really, so we need to do take care of some business because I have stories.
Plural, IES.
Yeah. Why singular?
Oh!
Do you remember the phone group Singular?
Singular, was it Singular Cellular?
Yeah, it was a cell phone. It was this with a C, and it had like a little orange stick figure guy.
I don't remember the orange stick figure guy, but I do remember Singular Cellular,
Singular Wireless.
Oh, maybe I don't remember that. Oh, with a C. Oh, I vaguely do.
Yeah, with a C.
Yes. You said it was orange?
Yeah.
And yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Hey kids. Back in the day, there were more than 2 phone services.
Oh, what? Tell the youths. Tell them now. Tell them in their middle parts to listen up.
Back in the day, Discovery Channel and TLC and all the other conglomerates that are all one network now were individually owned and operated networks.
What? Crazy.
3 people didn't own all of our TV stations. I'm just
bananas.
So it's time for the fake name series of the day.
Ow! So the fake name series of the day is what we use to save the shade. So instead of using people's real names, we use names that are from the fake name series of the day to hide their identities. But if they heard these stories,
know who they are.
Whether near or far. That's all I got. Today's fake name series of the day is Hey Arnold.
Yeah, Hey Arnold is the adventures of Arnold, a 4th grader with a football-shaped head who lives with his grandparents, Phil and Gertrude, in the city of Hillwood, which some people equated to the Bronx. First episode was July 10th, 1996, which Stacey and I were in 5th grade.
What?
And the final episode was June 8th, 2004.
Isn't that great?
Like, Stacey and I were in college.
Also, so I mentioned to a friend of mine, school nurse Shelly, about the show Hey Arnold. She was just like, man, what Arnold's parents did to him never sat right with me. I said, excuse me? She's like, yeah, there's an episode where they talk about his parents went on a trip and that's why he's at his grandparents' house and they just never came back. I said, what? So,
okay. First off, I didn't watch Hey Arnold a lot, but I knew that Helga secretly loved him.
yes.
And I did read an article because of course I read an article about it. I didn't watch the show, but I read an article. Go figure. I like books more than movies. Okay.
Listen, a great trait to have. Just throwing that out there.
So I was reading an article and the guy who created it actually said that in the end, Helga and Arnold end up together and that they're OTP. So yeah.
OTP.
One true pairing.
Never heard that before.
Thing, I swear.
Never heard that.
The youths taught me.
OTP.
OTP. One true pairing.
I've never heard. First of all, they haven't had wine. Second of all, the only thing I know is OPP, and I'm not down with that.
Yeah, you know me.
Well, now they do. Oh my goodness. So Chelsea, what is happening?
Oh, so I had like made us rush so I could tell a story, and then I stopped talking.
Wait, what? Listen, that's gonna be the last episode of this. Is when you're like, I found my OTP. Okay, bye. And then...
Bye. Love it. Oh God, you know how lucky I am when Facebook chooses like a frozen face, and it's never a good one.
Nah.
No, it's not a good one this time, kids.
Do you know what's so funny? That's the thing I was doing right before we signed on to do this. Was wrapping up this video that I needed to do for work, and you can customize your thumbnail. So I learned that you can edit it. So I actually look cute and not like in the middle of a sentence.
All right, let me start with my story because it's a little short and sweet. Then I'm going to tell you guys my friend's story, and it is juicy. So
shout out to BIG.
So let's start with my story. I'm working at the bakery that I work at now, and this very cute guy comes in. Let's call him
Gerald.
Ding. So Gerald walks in, and I, according to one of the youths who's standing next to me, I like sighed. But it wasn't like a Cinderella sigh, like, ah. No, it was like my brain already knew I was gonna ruin it. Like, she literally, like, it was like, okay, here we go. So he walks in. He's looking like close to 40. He's got nerdy shades on. He looks cute. Like it's good. He comes up, he wants to order bundles. So that's 12 of our little buntlets.
First of all, I cannot handle this at all. So I commend you with whatever's going to happen. Because I'm sorry, I'm at a bakery. So I'm already in a piece of heaven. And then an attractive man comes in. He's just like, ooh, I'm looking at your buntlets. So be like, I bet you are. You want, what kind of cake do you want? I couldn't handle it. I would walk out. I'd be like, listen, I'm going to get fired due to sexual harassment because there's just too much chemistry. Exactly. First it was me and the cake, and now a human. I can't.
So he orders a bundle. He gives me the flavors he wants and all this stuff. And then he's like, And I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, that's nice. Like it's practically porn, except for the fact that it's in a public building with cake.
That's what I'm saying. That is my version of it. I'm like, this is too much. It's not even my story.
He's like, I want 2 lemon. I'm like,
Pull up in a lemon. Hey, Rihanna.
He's like I need 3 chocolate chip. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one.
You see?
So then he said, so I say, okay, here's the price. And he goes, great, I'm going to pay with a gift card. And I was like, awesome. He hands me the gift
he's
card.
a repeat customer.
And I remember in my head, once again, I remember hearing it in my head, be funny, Chelsea. I got to stop listening to that little brain. That little
no.
in my head. She's not funny. And also, guys don't want to be, they want to be the funny ones. They don't want me to be the funny one. Not right now, at least. Let them appreciate my pretty, and then they'll see that I'm goofy as a bonus.
Listen, that one meme is the story of our lives, where it's just like, whoever I date, they just need to accept the fact that I'm the funnier one. Yeah. Like that's our cross to bear.
So I stare at him. I stare directly into his eyes, and I line up the gift card, and I'm gonna lean forward so you guys can for sure hear me. I go, shoo.
You made the swiping noise?
Mm-hmm. So then I thought he was gonna laugh because he's nerdy. That's funny. And then he didn't laugh. So then it was just this like, I mean, it had to have been like 5 seconds of silence and eye contact. And then I say, again, dead serious, no one's laughed yet. I say, you have to make the noise or else it doesn't work.
Stop.
And then again, silence. I'm also met by silence. And Gerald finally opens his mouth and says, I mean, I guess I've had to do that before, sure. And I was like, Chelsea. So then he goes, because we send everybody back to their cars, thank God, to wait while we make whatever they're asking for. And he leaves the building, and I need a girl's name.
Helga.
Helga literally turns to me and she's like, is that you flirting? Because I now understand why you're single. She is 17.
First of all, shout out to the youths, as they are so affectionately called. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
She literally was like, there was no positive, there was no like, you know Oreo cookie where you're like, you have bad news to say, but you like good news, bad news in the middle. Oreo cookie, you know?
Yeah. I love that you picked a specific cookie for it, by the way. I will not take an EL fudge. When it comes to news, I need Oreo.
Oreo cookie. Listen, I bet you people would read the news if it was Oreo cookie news.
Duh. Like, listen, doesn't matter if you're wearing the same sweatpants you've worn for the past 3 days. You look great. Happy you're here today. Also,
oh, I should pay attention to this one. It's double stuff news.
Oh, come on, double stuff news. Again, why I couldn't handle working at the bakery and having interactions with attractive people.
But so then they're like, Helga's like, oh no, you need to just walk yourself out there and deliver those cakes to that man's car because you cannot leave it on this. And I was like, it's not gonna get better from here.
Shout out to these confident people.
Oh, they are so good for my confidence. That whole bakery is like, how are you not married? You're so fun. I don't get it. And I'm like, thanks. Can
you tell them I'm pretty too?
You know that every time we have to tell somebody to fill out the survey, I'll be like, maybe you want to add that I'm pretty and smart.
Right?
One day somebody's going to do it.
Legit, I did that in my last sales call. Like, because it was a team that I initially made words because I've been on Zoom all day that I initially like reached out, made a connection with. So then it had I missed the last call, but then I was on this one. They're like, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. I'm just like, yeah, I'm actually here. I know you missed my pretty face. That's why they have me on these things. Like,
nice. Hi, Don. Hi, Steve. Thanks for watching the show.
Oh my gosh. So wait, did you take the cakes out to him? Did you take the cakes out to him? Take the cakes out to him.
So I take the cakes out, and he doesn't have his mask on anymore. And now I can
Poor.
Here. And he's like, oh, you can leave him on the table. I don't have a mask on. And I was like, but you do have good beard game. And he was like, oh, well, thank you. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. I'm not saying anything else. I'm getting inside. That's at least a win. Like,
he's like, what's your name? I can't tell you. I'm leaving on a high note.
It's gonna go badly.
I'm gonna go into the spelling and
it's just a thing. But yeah, so I was like, as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, well, that tracks my life. So, but the best
he'll be back. He'll be back.
Bunt, he'll be back.
Bunt, he'll be back. You see, I couldn't handle it. You know what's funny? We couldn't handle each other's workplaces because you would be around a whole bunch of nerds that you love with good posture.
100%.
This is hilarious. Like, instead of take your daughter to work day, we're just gonna do Freaky Friday and swap. And I'll be like, oh, I'm here. And Chelsea's gonna be at my job or like on Zoom calls, like, oh my God, look at all the beautiful people.
Just direct messaging everyone. I'm having techie diffies. Help me.
I'm like, the new girl's cute, but man, this we gotta learn her lingo.
So that happened. I made, and then now we have a whole different story. Okay. So let's see. I need three girl names and 2 guy names, Stace.
3 girl names. We're gonna go with Phoebe, Rhonda, and Patty.
Rhonda and Patty. All right, and then I need 2 guy names.
2 guy names. We're gonna go with. We didn't use Arnold yet.
No.
We're gonna go with Arnold and Harold.
All right, listen, that works. All right, so my friend Phoebe. Ding. So Phoebe tells me this story, and I asked if I could tell people about the show about it, and she was like, absolutely, just please don't use my name. And I was like, no problem, got you, because that's what we do. We got you, people.
We save the shade and we don't get sued.
Also, if you want to tell us a story and know that we're going to save the shade, so you can say whatever you want.
All right. So yeah, keep thank you for all your messages.
Podcast at Gmail.
Yes.
So Phoebe is single. She's been single for about a year, and maybe a little bit more than a year. Pandemic is such a weird year thing. But anyway, so she met this, she was out with a friend. Her and Rhonda went out, and Rhonda, they're at this bar, and the bar is busy because you can only have 25% of the people in there, and everybody has to have a seat. So like there's a line waiting for people to leave so that they can go in and sit down. Like, it's, somewhat
clubs never change. Like
it is what it is. Change the percentage, people still gonna wait outside,
right?
Oh, we can't dance, but we can sit. Well, we want to sit over there. That's the cool place.
Okay. I just want a place to put my jacket.
I just want a nice place to hang out. So Phoebe and Rhonda are sitting there having a good time. They look across the bar and they see Arnold and Harold. Now, Arnold and Harold are a little bit older. Phoebe and Rhonda are in their mid-20s. Harold and Arnold are in their early 30s. It's enough of an age gap. It's more that she's in her mid-20s as to the fact that she thinks that that's an age gap. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Yep, exactly. Exactly.
So the whole night goes by. Mind you, the bars are only open till 10. So it's like 9 o'clock, and Rhonda, Phoebe's friend, is like, I gotta go. I have to work in the morning. Bye. And so they go downstairs, they leave, they go to leave, and Phoebe says, you know what? I just got to tell these guys that I've enjoyed looking at them. So so she walks over and she's just gotten done with work. So she's wearing scrubs and she's wearing and her coat. Like, so there's nothing like, it's not like back in the day where Stacey and I used to go out in backless shirts and everything like that. It was fun time.
And because your girl, Stacey, not Chelsea, was going through a hoe phase, I got the shirt and I thought it was supposed to be the front. So like a really deep V. My friend's just like, no, it's a backless shirt. You put it on back. Ow, because I'm like rocking it in this area currently.
I'm like, I feel great. I feel free. Feel breezy.
Hashtag sorry, Dad. Also, your fault. No, so this was Rhonda or Phoebe that went back.
He goes, they didn't leave yet. Rhonda's at the door on her way out. Phoebe walks up to Arnold and Harold and says, hi, I just wanted to let you guys know that you are effing hot. And then she leaves. And they're like, whoa, you can't just leave. And she goes, watch me. And then she leaves.
Did you take notes from her, Chels? That's how it's done. Also, yeah, I'm taking notes for myself.
Can you imagine? Because I would say it and then I'd run into a chair or something.
Turn around, falls over.
Where? Falls down. Watch me fall down the stairs.
Watch me whip. Watch me trip. Watch me. Oh.
So now this is where, listen, once again, I slut shame no one. So live your life as long as you're being safe, and you're not hurting anybody else, then do you, honey boo. But she gets where I'm a little mad at Rhonda, Phoebe's friend, because they go downstairs. Phoebe says, I think I want to go back and talk to those guys. And this is where Rhonda should have said, okay, I'm not going up, so I think you should go home. Or Rhonda should have been like, I will rally so that you're not alone, you know?
Yes.
Just, that's what friends are for.
Good times and bad times.
Hard times. So Rhonda goes home and we never hear from Rhonda again. But Phoebe goes back up to the bar because there's a line and she technically left. The bouncer's like, you have to wait in line. She's like, I was just in there. I'm sitting with these guys. They're right by the table. Da 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 da. So he's like, if there's not a chair for you to sit in, it's not my fault when you get kicked out, because they are literally just looking for chairs. She's like, no, totally get it. So she walks up. Now I give her props for this, but she literally just walks up to Arnold and Harold's table, grabs the chair and sits down. And they're like, hi.
Right.
And she's like, well, I mean, you guys wanted to finish our conversation. So they talk all night. They have a really good conversation. I mean, and when I say all night, I mean for the next hour, because the bar closes at 10. So then the bar closes at 10. Phoebe just got a brand new car this week and somebody freaking hit it in the parking lot.
Come on.
I feel was like a sign that she shouldn't have been in the parking lot.
Well.
Hi, Stacey. Thanks for liking our video.
Oh my gosh, I love her. Hi.
So it was only aggressive because it's actually Stacey.
We're friends with several Stacys, by the way.
I know. That's why, just in case one of them is listening. It's you, not anyone else. So end of the night comes, they all go downstairs. She doesn't realize that her car got hit until after she parks at their house, at Arnold and Harold's house. She makes the decision to go over there. Her friend, Rhonda does text her and say, well, send me your address so I know where to start looking for the body.
Because
let's be clear, 2 adult men and 1 woman, that's not a great combo. I'm going to just, so that there's no trigger warnings or anybody having an emotional issue. She was fine. She's fine. Like, she's fine. So so Phoebe goes inside and starts talking, and literally they're both flirting with her. Like, it's getting to a point where she's like, she's not a threesome kind of girl. It's not that kind of story. Uh, but she's like, who will I choose? And
Ooh, who gets the rose?
And after a couple hours and a few more drinks, she ends up in a bedroom, or not a bedroom, on a couch with Arnold. Now, I will say she gives me some more details, and I'm going to come back and give them to you guys too. But she, as she's giving me these details to me, I'm like, of course that happened. Of course. So
that's right, because she's in her 20s.
Because she's in her 20s. So there are things that shock her that don't shock me anymore. And it's not because I know everything, but it is because I have a little bit more experience in life. So for those of you listening who are younger, we're not preaching because we're preaching. We're just letting you know what we know. So that way maybe you can sit there and be like, hey, I heard that once before, and I think maybe you're BSing me.
As someone who's waited until marriage, I've got all the notes to be like, oh, so when I do hear of certain things, I'm like, I remember that one, or, oh, that is a red flag. I remember that.
So Arnold and Harold drove together, and then Phoebe followed them. I know how that conversation went in the car. But okay. So Phoebe is in with Arnold, and they're making out, and they decide that they're going to have sex. So he puts a condom on. Great. The second it's important to the story, otherwise I wouldn't get so specific, but she is on top of him, and then he tells her he has a girlfriend.
Of course he does.
So like, she sat there and she's like, so he's inside of me, and now he's telling me that he has a girlfriend. And I was like, of course he did, because now he has no feeling bad because he told you. The probability is you're not going to stop because you already started. And so he still gets his, and his conscience is clean. So of course he did.
Pig.
And she then tells me it's the best sex she's ever had in her life, which I've been telling her for months she's having terrible sex. So I question how good this guy actually is, if he's not just actually an attentive male who gives a crap about the clitoris.
Noted.
About the clitoris.
It's in my notes.
So, like, because she just hasn't been having orgasms during regular sex. So I'm like, no, you're just having bad sex, like, on a whole. So just because this guy has given you a great orgasm does not mean you've had like the amazing. Yeah. Anyway, she's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then he's like, afterwards, he's like, I really want you to stay and meet my girlfriend, because this is our house. And I really just want, it's an open relationship, and I just want her to meet you, and da da da. And I'm like, of course he did, because why would you say yes? Like, no, this is just going to get you out of the house sooner, which is what he wants, but he's going to make it, you think that it was your choice. So now let's flash back to Arnold and Harold's car ride. Because at this point, Arnold and Harold haven't decided who's going to sleep with her. Harold, come to find out, is engaged. Yeah, the whole thing's not great. But that doesn't come out until the next morning. So, but the house that they went to is Harold's and his fiance's. That's why they were on a couch. So his girlfriend, who was coming home any minute, was never even coming home.
Wait, so how did we find out this information the next morning?
So the fact that he was engaged? Oh no, it all came out. Like they were just volunteering it now because somebody got theirs. So doesn't matter now.
I'm all open afterward. I'm completely transparent.
Right. And then she's like, so Phoebe's feeling bad because she slept with him. And I was like, no, that's not on you. That's on him. He knew when he could tell you. He knew. He's played this game. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and speculate that his number is in the very high hundreds. Like, he's probably does this every night. He's not worried about anything, diseases, anything. Like and I was like, please tell me you used a condom. And she's like, oh yeah, definitely. I'm like, well, at least you got that going for you. So now all this happens. And I was like, here's the thing. You can't for 1 second, because she is like me, her heart's right there in her vagina. And now she's had good sex. So, and I'm like, please delete his phone number. Please.
Yes.
You do not need any of this bullshit. And she's like, no, I'm gonna. And I'm like, okay, whether she does or not, it's not up to me. So, but like we all have our lines with certain things, and it's just one of those ones where I know if she keeps talking to him, I'm just not gonna. I'll be like, you can talk to him all you want. I don't want to hear about it because I already have my piece. So now I'm gonna be a broken record, and it's just not worth it for me. So yesterday, Phoebe calls me because this happened last Saturday, something like that. Yesterday, Phoebe calls me or texts me and says, oh my gosh, the thing with Arnold is so much worse. Call me. And I'm like, of course I'm at work. So I'm like, well, I can call you when I have a break. So I call her on break and she's like, oh my gosh, I have a friend named Patty, new friend. Dang. So she's like, Patty knows who Arnold is, dated Arnold for like 2 months, sent her a message that was like, hey, and like a psycho girl was like, hey, I just wanted you to know. Because it was like, somehow it got casually brought up between them. I'm not really sure why, but she's like, I just wanted to let you know that Arnold cheated on me the entire time. He told people that we were in an open relationship when we weren't. The girl that he's in a relationship with, I don't have the thing, but Sarah, let's go with Sarah. So she was like, his fiance or his girlfriend or whatever, Sarah, I guess that's his high school sweetheart, and they break up and come back together and break up and come back together like so much because she keeps thinking she can change this habit from him, but he's never gonna change. And then Phoebe tells me that she put 2 and 2 together because he kept telling her, oh my gosh, it's so funny, you remind me of my cousin's girlfriend Sarah. But what he meant was his girlfriend Sarah.
Like this is the bad part about lying. Like you just have to keep doing it. Like he has to keep creating this story, and now he's living a fictional life based on the lies that he has crafted.
He has to remember. Yeah. And the thing is like, this is the thing, if you're this gorgeous man and you just want to bed women, do it. Like you could probably bed a new woman every night, but why do you have to have a girlfriend on the side? Why do you have to involve other people? But wait, it gets worse.
Stop it. I can't handle this.
So then Patty tells Phoebe, she goes, did you use a condom? Because he gave me HPV.
Oh, which now, not surprising, but
no, kids, HPV is a sexually transmitted infection, and it's not one that goes away. Now you can, if you're under 26, get vaccinated for one type of it, the type that does lead to cervical cancer, which is great. But if you end up getting the one type of HPV that has that, then you're vaccinated against it and good. But if you're not, then you're in trouble. Now, mind you, there are a lot of people who have HPV, and it is like you live with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a death sentence. It's not anything like that. But it is an STI, and and you do have to tell people when you sleep with them.
Right.
So sorry.
Right. Oh no, you're fine. I was just gonna say, like, once a year ago when COVID was like announced and taken more seriously here in the States, my thought process behind it was this is just a social, STD, because I'm like, you had every time you saw someone, or if you're going to go to someone's house, you'd be like, hey, have you had this? Have you been around someone that's had it? How many people have you been around? I'm like, this is really just like safe sex practice, but socially.
Right. But also, doesn't it kind of show you how many people aren't truthful with their sexual history and their STD testings? Yeah.
Right. And also people like are ghosting people, where I haven't heard like from people in like 2 months, and then they're just like, hey, I haven't tell anyone, but I had it. Like, it's just like,
It's
like,
yep.
Hey, that one guy, yeah, we slept together and some things happen, but everything's better now. Like, there's such parallels. I've been saying this from jump, but continue.
So, Arnold gave Patty HPV. So now Phoebe's freaking out. Now, Phoebe did get vaccinated because she's in her mid-20s from the HPV that can cause cervical cancer, which is great. And she goes, so I'm probably fine. But she's like, but I'm going tomorrow. And I was like, I don't know that it shows up that quickly.
I was going to say the same.
Just, be honest. And the thing is that's why Planned Parenthood's here. You don't want to tell your parents. You don't have to, but you need to take care of your health, because Arnold doesn't give a crap. And that's proven, like, because Phoebe brought the condom to that situation, not Arnold. Yeah.
Wow.
So, you guys, she's telling me all of this, and I am like, of course he did. Of course he did. They had a conversation in the car as to who was gonna do it. And it's like, and the reason you're not in a bed there is because it wasn't even his house. Because if it had been the other guy's situation, they would have gone to the other guy's house. Like, legitimately. It's because then if a girl comes home, it's the fiance and the guy's safe.
And she's got to sneak out the back door.
But then but it's not even Harold's, or it's Harold's fiance, not Arnold's, who she's messing around with. And therefore, if Harold had decided he was going to sleep with her, they would have gone to Arnold's house.
And I'm so, number one, clearly I'm mad at these dudes.
Right.
But also the fact that they thought that far ahead to be like, oh, since she's with Arnold, if Harold's fiance comes home, then it's going to play into the whole narrative that Arnold just scripted. Like, oh yeah, this is the girl. She's totally cool with you being here, because that's not his chick. So legit, she would be coming in and being like, oh, that's happening. Okay. And go upstairs and be like, we'll talk about this when you guys are done, whatever. And go upstairs.
Hi, Artie. Thanks for watching the show.
Oh my gosh, it's been years. Hi.
It's crazy, right? So she's telling me all this, and I'm like, listen, nobody's gonna teach you. I was like, one thing, I'm glad you're finally realizing, because she's had a couple of guys that have like, she's like, it's good sex. I'm having good sex. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not having good sex, because you would know. You wouldn't have to justify it to anyone. You would just know what a good dicking is. And
that's interesting. That's something I can't speak to, obviously, but I'd never thought about it that way till you said that earlier this episode.
Like, a good dicking when you feel one.
I know a good dicking when I feel one. Notes, keep them.
You don't want a dicking that has techie diffies, okay? So but like, the funniest thing to me is the fact that, like, you could tell I wasn't the first person who had this conversation with her. You could tell I wasn't going to be the last person to have this conversation with, because that's what we do when we're in our 20s. We talk to everybody about it. We get everybody's opinions, and then we kind of figure out where our opinion fits in that. And it's like, that's why I have to make it really clear, because I'm like, listen, this is my opinion. It's not going to change. If I find out, if you feel like telling me a week from now you're still talking to him, we can't talk about this anymore, because he is doing nothing but bad for you, clearly. And the fact that she said in the conversation from yesterday, I mean, I'm done now, I'm done, means that she wasn't done after the first night, when he made the decision to tell her while he was screwing her that he was in a relationship. So that way he doesn't even have to feel bad, because he told her. Now it's on her to make the decision. And then she's like, well, I did go up to him at the table at the bar. And I'm like, and he could have immediately said, he's engaged and I got a girlfriend. Thanks for the compliment. Bye. Like,
right.
But he didn't, because he's a skis. Like,
agreed.
But yeah, so I mean, like I told you, I had some crazy stories. This one didn't happen to me, but huge shout out to Phoebe for being, one, brave enough to tell me, and two, brave enough to let me tell you guys, because that's a huge step in letting people know what guys are doing out there, to make it like, They know how to manipulate you into saying or into justifying things in your head. And then they don't even feel bad, because then afterwards you can be like, you were in a relationship. I told you. You told me while you were inside of me. Well, still told you. It was your decision.
I told you, but you decided to stay.
You could have stopped. And then if he sat there and she's like, you're not in an open relationship. I offered for you to meet my girlfriend. You said no. You're the one who left early. You chose to leave.
And they're in their 30s. Listen,
yeah, I know.
Heaven is real and so is hell. Arnold and Harold, you are headed towards hell. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful.
It's one of those moments where I just want to be like, okay, that's fine. I'll be single. I'll just get a nice dog. It'll be fine. Like,
right? Jacques and Jill.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, I grew up with, like, my little brother, for example. He is such a genuinely good person, and he really does, like, just want good for the people in his life. And when he was looking for a wife, he was looking for a wife. Even when he was kind of like in his dating phase, it wasn't really a dating phase. He dates monogamously while he dates. Like, so, and it's like, it's just such a breath of fresh air. Meanwhile, I'm out here trying to find all these guys who will literally say whatever they can on a dating app about how they want to get to know me. And then the second that they meet me, they want to get in my pants. And I'm like, but it's not about that. Or my favorite is when I flat out say their posts say that they're looking for a relationship, and then they start talking about how they're going to send me pictures. And I'm like, I thought you wanted a relationship. And he's like, well, you wouldn't have swiped on me if it said that I was just looking for casual sex. You're right.
That's the point.
Like, you don't get to speak to me like you can speak to anybody. Like, I am above this in that sense. Now, mind you, there's a fun and a safe point in a relationship for kinky talk and sex and play, but that's not the first 3 minutes of meeting someone on a dating site. So you can tell I'm old because I say dating site.
And youths. Listen, you know we're one and the same, because I'm like, Lord, these dudes out here. Because let me tell you what. First of all, I had a nice Valentine's Day. What I mean by that is, it was just any other day, which is usually how I treat it. But let me tell you, Valentine's Day brings out, like you said, the skeeves. Because when I say I had 2 married men in my DMs, I'm like, listen, you love God, I love God, but I know God didn't tell you to have you check on me on Valentine's Day. Check on your wife. Right? Go play with your mom. Don't play with me. Like, I'm just looking at this, like, what is the point? And even, like, when I think about it in the past, like, guys that have dated, like, around Valentine's Day, that's when it gets rocky. Like, hey, I'm not trying to be exclusive and buy presents. And it's
my
just favorite,
like, is the people who, like, you didn't hear from him until 9:55, and on Valentine's Day, sis, you are the side chick. After 10 p.m. on Valentine's Day does not a Valentine make.
It does make the candy go on sale. And he got you a boatload. So when he leaves it on your front doorstep, you're going to be like, see, he cares. Nah, chick, it went on clearance and he just got it before they put the red stickers on it, even though the red stickers wouldn't have mattered because it goes along with the color concept of Valentine's Day. Either way, you're the side chick.
Just, you know, and the thing is if you want to be a side chick, be a side chick. We are not saying that. But for those of us who do not want to be a side chick, you don't get to treat us like one.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, I will say on the flip side of it, because Penelope was saying, or Phoebe, sorry, Penelope.
I was like, my Jeep.
Phoebe was saying how she's like, I'm not this girl. And I said, listen, there are people who are not this girl. And I'm like, but the truth of the matter is you met these guys and after an hour you went home with them. So in this moment, in those nights, you were that girl. Like, as a guy in that situation, I would not have expected a girl to not sleep with me who followed me home from a bar after meeting me for an hour. That doesn't scream relationship, that screams casual. And I'm like, so you don't get to sit there in that moment. And I'm like, now I know who you are as a person, but in that moment, you made the decision to be the one night stand, and like own that truth. No one is slut shaming you, but like you don't get to hope that there's a relationship in it, because there's not. That's not what you were doing. If you'd have been hoping for a relationship, you would have given him your phone number and left. But also, karma is what it is, isn't it? Because her car got hit. And I'm like, you should have gone home. Because it was not hit when she went downstairs with her friend, Rhonda.
Wow. And it's interesting that you say that, because that's something that I remind myself, is that if I do like meet someone and it's just a really good conversation, it's just like 10 o'clock, bars are closing, but we still want to keep this conversation going, I do have the choice to like go with them wherever and continue the conversation. But because I know how that looks,
right,
even if I was upfront about, hey, not trying to do that, like waiting till marriage, it will look like there's
because how many girls are out there being like, oh my gosh, I never do this shirt, like
backless, front facing shirt, like
right. Oh my gosh, I've never done this before. Can you hit the clasps in the back, please? Like it, you know, like there, and that's the expectation. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that guys should be able to base anything off of that. I'm saying that's the world we live in. And
I'm
like,
saying endorphins are real, and sometimes things get caught on hands. Like, oh, well, this is nice. Okay, that's it though. Okay, that's it though.
100%. There was a point in high school where I was making out with my boyfriend on my parents' couch. Hashtag sorry, dad. Oh my God, it was great. And and I remember, listen, I was a virgin in high school, but we did some crazy dry humping. like an obscene amount of it, that poor kid. But I remember we had one day we were just making out, doing our thing, and then I looked at him and I was like, no, you need to take off your pants. And he was like, okay. and then we go back to making out, and it was really just about the friction. The friction. And then he said to me, I have a condom in my wallet. And I laughed.
Good day, sir.
And it's like, we are not having sex.
Right. That's exactly what I envisioned. Like that would happen with me. And that'd be like, how dare you? And he'll be like, but you did all the steps leading up.
But I'm literally like sitting there topless, and he's like in his boxers, and he's like, this is the next step. And I'm like, it's a very large step, sir. And I'm not wearing the proper protective gear. So, and then he's like, I have the protective gear. So
that's real. It's so real. It's so real.
But now looking back at it, I'm like, oh man, he totally thought we were gonna have sex. Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Like,
just like, wait, where are you going?
Pants. He was like, that's my green light. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Like,
God said no.
I'm like, why would you think that we're having sex?
We did not discuss this. This was not in the syllabus. Well, neither was telling me to take off my pants. I went off script. I am a human.
But yeah, so I love Phoebe, and I know Phoebe in her heart wants a relationship, but you also have to own up to where you were in that moment. And you have to own up to the fact that those guys are not relationship guys. You don't meet relationship guys in the last hour of the bar. Like,
and if you do, they can wait till the next day.
Like, maybe just like make out in front of your car for like a couple minutes and then give them your phone number and go home. Like, it's about the chase, right? Guys like,
and then when they don't call you, you know.
Right. And then you can be like, all right. I mean, good for her though. She had the best sex of her life. So woohoo. It's about time, because she was having really bad sex, like really bad.
I'm laughing at your face when you say that. I'm not laughing at her situation.
No, I'm laughing at her situation. It's fine.
So rude.
No, because every time Phoebe would defend her sex life, I'd be like, did you have an orgasm? And she'd be like, I'd be like, if you don't know,
if you don't know, if you didn't have it,
say yes, then you did not have an orgasm. And therefore, he wasn't looking out for you. And therefore, you had bad sex. And I was like, but also, if a guy's sitting there asking you if this feels good and you're not talking because you're embarrassed, that's also on you.
Communication is key in all areas of your life, especially in that one.
Legitimately, the whole game changed when I started being able to tell people, like, be like, no, stop, to the left, there, go. Like,
because let's be real, men are dumb. And so if we think we're doing something the right way, we'll keep doing it
every time.
I was gonna say, because then it'll be different tomorrow. I won't be feeling it tomorrow. You'll be like, but I did this the last time. I get that, but
and also it wasn't good last time because I lied. Also, women, if we can say one thing, stop faking your orgasms.
You're setting yourself up for failure. And I say that as someone who hasn't done it. Like, listen, there are no VWQs, virgin with questions. This is VWS, virgin with statements.
Fake your orgasms.
Right? And make sure you communicate both partners so that everyone's having a good time. And also, if you don't know if you've had one, then you have not had one.
Not had one. Because believe me, you'll know. That's it. Play the song. We're done.
I'm right. I'm like, good night, everybody. Reasons why I'm single. Chelsea and Stacy out.
like really go ahead and play it?
Yeah. Have an orgasm. We don't want to talk anymore.